Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Bear Photography. Today, I'm excited to share a recap of my first real field test with the Canon R7 mirrorless Canon body. It was a big day for birding and wildlife photography near the end of last week in northeast Wisconsin, so let's dive in. My main goals for the day were pretty ambitious. First, I was on a mission to find and photograph a snowy owl. They're always a breathtaking owl and bird to capture out in the wild, so I was really looking forward to that. Second, I wanted to get some bald eagle shots if possible, and third, I was going to try to get a white-winged crossbill. So those were kind of the three bird species on the chart for the day. Also, a sunrise photo to kind of kick off the day right was also in the mix. The conditions were admittedly kind of tough. It was cold. 0 degrees Fahrenheit at 6 a.m. when we kicked things off, basically. But there were clear skies, and overall it was a good experience. So a little cold, but good time. The sunrise, I can tell you, it did not disappoint. So the Canon R7 paired with the EF 35mm f2 lens did a great job of capturing the rich colors, and even caught some sunburst flares of light as it hit the ice off of the bay, and it was just something to see. It was one of my favorite shots of the day, to tell you the truth. Next, that snowy owl, I did find it. It was perched up across a channel on a distant breaker wall of a boat launch harbor, and I got to tell you, using the Canon R7, I had that paired with my Sigma 150 to 600 millimeter lens. And then I used some teleconverters, and I was stacking the 1.4 and the 2-time teleconverters on top of each other to try to get some extra distance because it was so far out there. And unfortunately, with stacking the teleconverters, the lighting conditions weren't really ideal, even mostly because of where the owl, how it was facing. Anytime I got a shot on the owl where it would turn and look at me, it basically was, pulling itself out of the light. So that, in tandem with the stacked teleconverters and losing some stops of light, made those shots not the best in the world. But I got some pictures. That's the main thing. And I got out there and I saw the birds, so that's always a good time. I love seeing snowy owls. They're one of my favorite birds to capture. So that was great. So like I mentioned, that the teleconverters, they give you the reach, but you lose a little bit of light. You definitely lose a lot of light. You lose some sharpness, unfortunately. I got some usable shots that I can share, but nothing that I would say is anything that we're going to think about ever printing. Still, it's good. It was a good one. The snowy owl is always a special one to experience. While I was out there looking for the owls, I did have some unexpected luck with the bald eagles. So one juvenile, one adult bald eagle, they were perched up in some trees really close to the boat harbor where I was observing the snowy owl. And I can tell you the R7's autofocus system, that's a game changer. Even in comparison to the M50 I've been using, I'd really transitioned to the M50 over the last year for most of my wildlife shots because the autofocus works so well with the 1.4 teleconverter with my Sigma lens. And I can tell you the autofocus, but there was some limitations that I noticed with the autofocus on using that. And it was just a little bit slower. But on the R7, the autofocus is very snappy, even with the 1.4 teleconverter on it. Even the stacked teleconverters that I had, when I had the 2-time and the 1.4 teleconverters stacked together, the autofocus was still really, really snappy, really responsive. It was tracking, animal eyes. So the eagles, it would just snap directly onto their eyes and kind of track them pretty well. And even in, some tough lighting, losing some stops of light with the teleconverters, it performed very, very well. So I can't really complain about that at all. I especially like this juvenile eagle shot that I got. It's not every day that you see one with this level of character. It's just, I'll let the image speak for itself, but, this one I really did enjoy. It's not every day you see an eagle like this out in the wild. In the afternoon, I headed to a different location, so I went to the Norbert Rich School Forest. That's near Omro, Wisconsin. It was a new spot for me. I had never been there before, but I noticed that it's a spot that's frequently listed on the eBird app for kind of a hot spot. So I wanted to go out there and just kind of check it out. It's also a spot where I noticed some crossbills were being reported over the last week. So I thought if I'm going to have an opportunity to see one or hear one, that's the place to go check it out. And I'll tell you, I had an unexpected surprise out there because out of nowhere, I had a barred owl that flew right out in front of me. It was kind of out of nowhere. Like I said, it was a surprising experience. And to be honest, I was shocked even more that I was able to get a photograph of it. So it was easily one of the best owl photographs I've ever taken in my life. And it was basically pure luck and timing, you know. The fact that that owl swooped right in front of me, went up on a branch, and stood there for about 20 seconds staring at me as I got the R7 out, locked on the autofocus, and snapped a couple pictures off real quick. That was about all the time I had. Within 20 seconds, it was gone for the hills. But I can tell you that the shot I got was great. I had great lighting, great color in it. The 32 megapixel sensor on the R7 really picked up some incredible detail. So I really like that about the camera as well. It worked well, and found it to be very reliable with the autofocus to snap onto my subject very quickly. So, you know, overall, what did I think of the Canon R7 in its first real outing? Honestly, I was really impressed. You can probably tell I got some pretty good results, and I didn't have any major issues with it. I found that the autofocus is very snappy. It's reliable, even with, you know, wildlife that is moving very quickly. It was very good at tracking, you know, eye movement for some of the subjects that I was tracking. And it made it, you know, that kind of made a huge difference. Some of the other features are more quality of life, and I'm sure I'll have some more thoughts on this as I start using the body more. But things like the dual card slots kind of give you that peace of mind when you're out in the field. If, you know, an SD card fails on you or something like that, you're not going to be SOL. So I really enjoyed that feature of it. I thought the compact size, it felt really good overall in the field. Some other reviews kind of are skeptical on the size or the button layout. I didn't have any issues with it. I've used, like I mentioned, several other DSLR camera bodies over the years. You know, anything from the 60D, the 7Ti. I've used the M50, as I mentioned before, 60 Mark II. So those are kind of the other camera body experiences that I have with Canon. And I'll be honest, this one felt fine to me. It's a little bit different where the button layout is, but it was pretty natural, and within a few hours, I felt like I completely adjusted to it. So it wasn't really a deal breaker for me. I thought it was actually kind of a nice layout. I kind of thought it was preferable, but that's just me. I guess everyone's got a different opinion on where they like the button layout and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, overall in the field, it was great so far. So I really liked it. Is the R7 perfect? Well, probably not. You know, I'm sure if I really wanted to be picky, I could come up with, you know, some things that it could have done better. Most of the issues I ran into in the field last week, they had really nothing to do with the R7. Maybe a little bit more of me pushing it to its limits through stacking the teleconverters. I mean, you can't expect the camera body to do the impossible, and that's kind of what I felt like that I was trying to push it to do. But it was a good test just to see what kind of results it would yield in that situation. Unfortunately, with that snowy owl, not very preferable to stack. And not a huge noticeable difference between stacking the teleconverters versus just taking the shot with, you know, maybe using a single 1.4 teleconverter and then cropping in. I think you get the same level of detail basically from the test results that I did. But you know, the other things that I noticed is it does a really good job capturing images even at a high ISO. But you know, you're still going to have to use your tools like Lightroom or Topaz to kind of denoise the image when you're done to really pull out all that detail. But nothing really unexpected. Overall, it's so far so good. So I would say. You know, I can't speak highly enough of how good the experience was for the first time. I'm sure I'll have more feedback and maybe some other things about it that I would like to see maybe different as I start using it more. But right now, I thought it was great. So basically, to kind of wrap things up here, it was a great day out in the field. You know, birding and testing that Canon R7. it was a huge upgrade over any DSLR or even that M50 that I've been using before. And I walked away with 16 shareable images. You know, I'm probably not going to print every one because they weren't all printable, but, you know, just sharing them out on social media or something like that, they were perfectly fine for that. And then a few of the shots I took, like, you know, that sunrise, the barred owl, even some of those eagle shots, those are some decent keepers. I can't really complain at all about those. I'm very proud of those shots. So, was really happy overall with the performance. And basically that's all I got for you. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to Big Bear Photography for more adventures. And as always, you know, shoot me a comment. Let me know what your favorite shot of the day was, or if you have any ideas of what you'd like to see in the future. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.